Now for the non-script, Bernard Monot.
Oui, merci Monsieur le Président. Mes questions vont au Président.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is regarding the breakdown of responsibilities between the BCE and its prudential supervisional authority. I see that the BCE is taking up the functions not set out in the treaty since 2013. At the same time, the single monetary policy, technically speaking, doesn't exist until 2014 because the national banks will be increasingly independent one of another, which I welcome. I have in mind the use of the TROs and other tailor-made measures that will be applied by each member state. The cut in interest rates by the BCE is becoming negative. So the single monetary policy has become a real mess. And so we can understand why Mr. Draghi has taken over your function of banking supervision, no doubt preparing for a further aggravation of the crisis in the Eurozone. The first pillar of the banking union, centralised risk management, according to the President of the BCE, would mean they should be in the front line. That was initially the case. You carried out the first round of the stress tests, not looking very far ahead, but the SSM has strengthened the BCE's powers as it is now solely in charge of carrying out the stress tests on the quality of assets, although this extension of its powers is not actually authorised under its statute, which, unlike the EBA. Ongoing supervision of systemic banks will be taken by BCE shortly. They've decided on this together with the member states. They're not letting the EBA do its job. Is the EBA going to have to make do with a curtailed role on banking regulation when the real solvency of the banking system in Europe is seriously undermined? So what continued existence do you see for yourself, given the way the BCE is pushing its weight about? And shouldn't supervision be subject to you, as mentioned in the report in July? If not, how can you see yourself working together with the BCE, redefining tasks over the coming quarter? For example, might the BCE come out with an announcement of the results of the bank stress tests for the general public?
Who would like to answer? Andrea?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, I'm not sure that I got all the points you raised. I hope I can address the main issues. I mean, here it has to be clear that the ECB is not, let's say, taking up tasks that were until yesterday assigned to the EBA. No, I mean the EBA has never been an authority directly supervising banks. So the tasks which are moving to the ECB are tasks that until now were with the national authorities. However, I'm not saying that this is not changing the picture. Of course, it's changing the picture in which the EBA is working, and it's changing the picture in several directions. First of all, the ECB will be asking us to increasingly produce a single rule book, because it will be difficult for the ECB to apply different rules to banks in France and Germany or Italy, for instance. So there will be a greater demand for harmonization and standards in our direction. In terms of the stress test, I've always said also in front of this committee in the past that we are not particularly happy about the legal setup for our responsibilities, because we run a huge reputational risk. Well, we don't have the legal responsibilities of conducting the stress test, but the legislation says that we coordinate and initiate the stress test. So this doesn't change. But still, let's say, we have recommended all authorities in the European Union to conduct an asset quality review. This will be for the euro area, the comprehensive assessment of the ECB. For the other banks outside the euro area, there will be our recommendations working, and the stress test will be a single one. And we are paying a lot of attention to have a framework in terms of methodology, disclosure, and cooperation between home and host authorities, which is the same for all the banks across the single market, the 28 member states of the Union. And this is particularly important in order to allow to compare, let's say, banks within and outside the euro area. Let me also say that of the 46 colleges, group that we regularly monitor, only 5 have establishments only within the euro area. Most of them have establishments both within the euro area and in countries which are not joining the SSM. So in these cases, it is important for us to provide an overall framework for all of them. And in terms of supervisory tasks, let's say, it would be important. I would need more time to go into details, but in a sense, we are trying to develop methodologies which are then applied in a consistent fashion by both the ECB and other authorities outside the SSM, and this is in close cooperation with all the authorities. Thank you.
Thank you. After this first round of